Hello, everyone. It's Laura Burton here with 416 Sales, and I'm here with Stephen Gardner. And I wanted to have a little talk with Stephen today. I met him because I was on a podcast that he was on, and I was so impressed listening to him talk about finances and investments that I became a client. I got his book, Taming Wall Street, and I am just a huge, huge fan. So, Stephen, thank you for talking with me. I'm really excited to, share some information with people and let them know how they can be smart with their money. How are you?
Yes, absolutely. I got to say, I'm also a fan. I've got your the ultimate success planner right here, and I've been going through it and setting out my goals. Hopefully, nobody just stole my ideas out of that. But
That's awesome. Yeah, I use
yeah,
mine too. It's good. Yeah, you can buy that on Amazon if you want. So,
yeah.
Stephen, you have been talking with people for a long time about their money. You've been doing this for well over a decade. Where do you find that people get their education about finances? Where do people get that wealth of knowledge of what they should do with money?
Well, I'll break it up in a couple ways. Number one, the wealthy get their money by buying it. So they can
Okay.
go out and find the smartest people and they can short track their success plan by just buying time with someone who knows what they're talking about or someone who's already doing what they want to do.
Okay.
What the rest of America does is they hire somebody from a local financial firm and then they hope that they know what they're doing and what they're talking about. And then on the rest of the country, they have no financial education, and unfortunately, they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Ah,
They're
yeah,
just
good term.
one prayer away from things not working out. And I love working with those people because we can show them how to use one or two tools that cover multiple tools. Kind of like an
Ooh.
iPhone is now a fax machine and a camera and a phone, and we can show them, hey, let's kill a couple of birds with one stone.
Hmm.
But it starts with education, and as you know from working with me, becoming a
Yeah.
client, that is my biggest weapon is education, helping somebody have that paradigm shift, understanding something, seeing it from a different perspective, showing them what the wealthy are doing. Most of my clients are
Hmm.
very high income physicians and business owners. That's the water that I swim in. But
Hmm.
I don't ever not deal with somebody, right, if they don't have that. I still work with millennials. I still work with teachers. I still work with firemen. Somebody just getting started. I love helping everybody so long as they're willing to put in the time to learn.
What's
Um,
really nice too about your approach is that you make the success accessible to people. They don't have to have a huge amount of money. They have to be able to plan to have the money to put into something that's going to work for them. And customizing it that way is really helpful.
yeah, so there's two ways to get ahead. There's sweat equity and there's check equity, right? And
Hmm.
so the sweat equity for working with me is, will you put in the time to learn? And then the check equity is, at some point they've got to write a check. They've got to take some action and move forward and
Yeah.
let that money start to grow and compound. So those are the two equities that I'm looking for. It's not just, do you have $500,000? I was at a level where at some point I had people say to me, you should only be working with people that have 500,000 in liquid assets right now. And that really rubbed me wrong because it got me thinking, I wouldn't even be able to help my own mom and dad.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
so my mother was a teacher for over 30 years. My father was a great father and a salesman. But neither one of them had careers that made massive amounts of money, like a business owner or something like that.
Right.
And so to preclude them from good opportunities would feel wrong to me. And so I've just always, anybody that's willing to, uh, put in the sweat equity and then has the check equity, right? If somebody has no
Yeah.
money, I mean, I can't build you a nice custom tailored suit with no material. There's got to be something there. But sometimes we have to go find it by showing them how to create more cash flow
Hmm.
through paying off certain debts or rearranging their finances. But for the most part, if people come to me, They're willing to read, which means readers are leaders. That means that they usually have money to do something with. They just need a push in the right direction.
So, how much money does someone need to have before they can start leveraging their wealth and take advantage of some of these opportunities?
So again, I'll answer that with two answers. I would say if you're just getting going or wanting to start a new investment opportunity, I would say whatever your age is times 10 is
Okay.
a good starting point, right? So if you're 25, you should have at least $250 a month that we could do something with. If you're 50, we should be looking at around $500, right? And that's not an exact science.
Hmm.
We have to start from where you are now,
Yeah.
and get you to where you want to be, right? Almost nobody starts with "I want to be here" and go more. I mean, you do come across those people, right?
Yeah.
So I would say your age times 10 is a good rule of thumb for starting out. The magic number for really getting going, I would say for some reason I've seen the number 25,000 is a
Okay.
really good number for getting going. Whether that's in these growth focused plans, alternatives, taking advantage of some of the better opportunities with investing.
Hmm.
That's for some reason that's a good starting number for people. That's like a good minimum number. But I will
Okay.
say, I've done deals where I had no money and I used other people's money. And then it just comes down to being honest and a
Yeah.
good steward of that money. And so if you are really starting from zero, but you've got a good head on your shoulders and you have a good opportunity that somebody's willing to put money into, and then you operate with a good moral code,
Hmm.
people will give you money.
I like that.
Yeah. So
So you have
they're
to be creative sometimes and look to see how you can benefit others and benefit yourself with that.
exactly like I'm dealing
Yeah.
with somebody right now. They didn't want to go into one of the programs I have because it's a 10-year commitment, but they said, I've known you for a decade. What could we do together? And I'm like, well,
Oh.
if you will put up $25,000, then I'll put up the time to go find something, and we can get you a conservative rate of return with very little risk. But you put up the time, and I'll put up the money, and then I'll do the work. And they loved it. They loved that opportunity, and it
Oh,
had a
nice.
shorter time frame, and it was just a good opportunity. So don't let not having money dissuade you from searching out opportunities or creating opportunities. That's where a lot of the money is made, is in creating things, right? But
Yeah.
if you're wanting to work with me, then those are kind of some magic numbers. I would say is 10 times your age, or 25,000 or higher is going to be a good number for getting involved.
I love it. I love it. So, what do you tell people who are unsure about trying something new? They've got some money or they know they could put that amount aside that they need every single month. How do you get them to feel that leap of faith motivation of, okay, I can do this? How do you get them to move past the point of thinking, I don't know?
Yeah, yeah. Anytime you start something new, there's I don't want to say risk, but there's this stepping into the unknown that you have to, I guess, become comfortable with. So it's not really a risk, but it's becoming familiar or comfortable with something. So I would
Okay.
say the biggest thing would be getting educated. Like what reading material is out there.
Okay.
Um, Success leaves clues. Where are the footprints
Yeah.
in the sand? If somebody's heading in that direction and you're heading in the other, why are those footprints going that direction, right? So um, finding a good opportunity usually involves finding a good mentor
Okay.
that can take you through something. But then just doing your research, getting educated. I get pitched probably 2 or 3 times a month on opportunities, and
Hmm.
2 or 3 times a month I typically say no. Rarely does somebody bring me something that really catches my attention
Yeah.
after I do research on it. I had one that it caught my attention last let's see, this was before Christmas, so December, it caught my attention. I got on, I started reading, and I was like, I went back to the guy, I said, dude, um, here's where I think you're going to run into issues. This is really hot in the United States right now, but this stuff's getting shut down left and right in Europe. So
Ooh, okay.
either it hasn't caught on in Europe like it did in America, or it hasn't been shut down in America like it has in Europe. Right? So I
Yeah, it's
just
only a
said,
matter of time. You've got a
yeah,
window.
yeah. So it just either hasn't caught up with them or the trend hasn't caught up. But either way, I wasn't willing to go down that rabbit hole. But I get opportunities all the time. I say no to most of them. I'm a very conservative person. Some of that is my religious upbringing, and some of that is having my hat handed to me and losing money, or having people steal money from me. That makes you a very wise investor.
One
Um,
one thing I've heard too is that some of the most successful people are as proud of what they have turned down and will turn down most opportunities because they have certain goals, they're focused on certain things, and if it doesn't fit that criteria that they've set for themselves, it's an automatic no. So it keeps them
yeah,
from trying to do too much outside of what they should be, what they're an expert at and what they really understand.
yeah. When it comes to like adventure in your life, you want to be a yes man, but when it comes to handing over your hard-earned money, you got to be a no man more
Yeah,
times than not. I mean, think
very
about
smart.
how many opportunities Warren Buffett turns down compared to how many he moves on. But when he moves on something, people are like, "Oh my gosh, this must be incredible," because he filtered it out.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to do for people as well. Is like, hey, listen, I research a lot of stuff. You
Hmm.
don't have 7 books by not reading books or going to workshops or learning from top money mentors. And so let me filter some of those bad things out. Let me maybe poke some holes in your bucket and see what leaks out. That I think is a great way to move forward. Again, you can do a lot of research on your own, and I highly recommend that. But you can also find a money mentor who's already having success that can say, hey, if you implement these things and follow, for lack of a better word, this cookie cutter pattern, you're going to come out with similar results.
I love it. What do you think people believe about financial planning that can cause them to make a poor investment choice?
Oh, let's see. What do I think? Well, I think too many people consider themselves an investor, but
Mm.
really they've outsourced the decisions and the research. I'll give you an example. Um, let's say that I paid you to go swimming for me,
Ah,
but I call myself a swimmer.
yeah, that doesn't work so well.
It doesn't. But in the world of money, I hand my money off to someone at Edward Jones or wherever, and they may knock it out of the park, or they may end up losing me a lot of money. Or the reality is, most of them have no control over what happens, and no skin in the game whether you win or lose, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but then people turn around and call themselves an investor. Yeah, I'm an
Ah,
investor. Oh, I've got $250,000 invested with this. No, you handed your money off to somebody you hope is a good investor.
yeah, that is
Right.
that's a really good line of differentiation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
had
like
I had
that.
dinner in Hawaii a couple weeks ago with a movie maker, a fitness trainer, and 2 very successful female doctors. And the movie maker was saying, "Hey, I need access to really intelligent women that are financial professionals." And the doctor next to me, she said, "Oh, my financial advisor, she's great. Ever since 2009, the money's just going up like crazy because of her." And I turned to her and I said, "Anybody that put money in the stock market since the Great Recession has made money. How do you know she's any good if the market hasn't dropped?" And
Right.
there was this little bit of a shock for a minute, like, oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah.
It comes back to, I think it was Warren Buffett that said, you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out.
Yeah, I like that.
Like everybody's making money right now. I mean, the market was up a crazy amount just since November of 2019, and now it dropped, and all those gains have been wiped out. And that's when I get the complaint phone calls like, "Oh, my
Mm-hmm.
guy doesn't know anything," or "My lady doesn't know anything." And I'm like, okay, well, let's do something that protects that money, but still puts it in a good opportunity to grow. But yeah, if you think you're a great investor because of the last, 7, 8, 9 years, let me just burst your bubble. Everybody's been making money in the last 7, 8, 9 years if they had it in there. It's what happens when things go south that really counts.
So you've been showing people how to protect and grow their money since 2003. And, how do you know if someone's good is a good question. What do you do with your own money? How do you take care of your money?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So I don't get that one very often. Uh, I started out very conservative. I'll admit, I mean, I'll look right in the camera. I lost almost 40% of my wealth in 2007 and 8 when the market dropped.
Ouch.
And,
Ouch.
that's one of the big things that set me on this journey of finding ways to grow your money without the losses. And
Yeah.
so it was an expensive school of hard knocks. That was expensive tuition, but man,
Yeah.
I learned those lessons. And so that's what really set me on that journey. And then a couple of years ago, I strayed from my own philosophy and ended up having money inside of a deal that ended up doing very, very poorly. And so I
Oh,
just I just went back to my own philosophy. And so inside of Taming Wall Street, I share with people what I do with the majority of my money, which is I put it inside of these cash value insurance contracts that are guaranteed to not lose money, but have a long track record of getting good returns. And then what's neat about those is I can then access that money while I'm alive and before 59 and a half. And I can go out, I can be the owner of my own debt on my cars, vacations, some real estate. My wife and I have done 7 or 8 real estate deals. We're looking at some real estate deals right now. But I
nice.
have I have control of that capital. But in the meantime, if I take it out, it keeps earning as if the money were never gone. So I'm a big fan of those contracts. I'm also a big fan of doing real estate, whether that's hard money lending, owning the real estate yourself. Right now, I'm doing some
Hmm.
research on Airbnb, but
Nice.
those are some great things. And then investing in my own business. My wife and I were getting ready to launch a business together. Now that our
Nice.
now that our kids are a little bit older, but I'm a huge believer in investing in yourself, your own business, and then being a really good saver inside of these insurance contracts, and then
Hmm.
from there you can invest in things that you won't lose with, and so that's kind of in a nutshell what I do. And then again, I get pitched on a lot of opportunities, but I end up saying no to most of them. I've moved forward in a few of them, and I think that they'll do well and pan out, but time will tell.
You know, just in the last couple minutes, how should people get in touch with you? What would be the best way to contact you for advice and to,
Yeah.
get your book and those kinds of things?
Yeah, I would love for them to go to my website, yourbridgeplan.com.
Okay.
That has my contact information. People can email me at Stephen with a PH at yourbridgeplan.com. They can also check out my YouTube videos. I have almost 150 YouTube videos.
Nice.
And so if you're not quite ready to speak with me, go on. You're going to see my philosophy. You're going to see my passion. You're going to see the math behind what I do. But at the end of the day, if people want to reach out, I'm happy to run, some customized numbers. And I'm a no pressure guy. I'm all about education. If it doesn't make sense, we walk away. If it does, then I'm here for the long haul
Well, you are
with people.
wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been great. You guys
Yes,
contact
absolutely.
Steven, check him out online, and you will be so happy. And your bank account will be seriously happy too.
Hey, thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you, Steven. Take care.
Okay, bye.